appreciate everybody being here. You know, this is we started this last year, and it was by far the most positive response that we've had probably ever since we've been doing these. This is my 18th year of doing this. David Barnes sitting in the back there, wave at everybody. David, this is David's 18th seminar coming to our stuff. Which basically the first one he came to was because he knew I was broke and needed money, and came and just tried to take care of me. But we deeply appreciate everybody being here. Last year I lost my voice on the first day, and I had two more days to go. So I'm going to try to do a little bit better this year without losing my voice. But what the objective is and the goal is, what's up there, brother? Good to see you, man. Did you bring the cold weather with you?
What's that?
Did you bring the cold weather with you?
Oh, man.
Yeah. What the objective and the goal is that in this room today, by the end of today, I want you to be incredibly confident to feel like that you are a quarterback guru. And all you have to do to be a quarterback guru is to declare yourself one. If you've watched on television, there's a million fucking quarterback gurus, okay? All they do is say, I'm a guru, and the next thing you know, they are. And there's NFL guys right now that are known to be quarterback gurus who would fuck up a wet dream. No offense, but that's the truth. So I'm not a quarterback guru. I don't know a whole lot about playing quarterback. I just know that what I know, the limited amount of knowledge that I have, I know that it works. And it's worked at every level, from being a middle school coach at Mayfield Middle School, to being a freshman coach, to being a high school coach, JV coach, college coach, National Indoor Football League pro coach. And then obviously there's two people in this room right now that you all may not be aware of that have coached the #1 pick in the draft. Okay, Chris Hatcher in the back of the room there is going to give us some stories today. Chris won the Harlan Hill Trophy, which is the Heisman for Division II. Then he coached a Heisman Trophy winner in Division II, Dusty Bonner, who I then made a lot better when I got him in the National Indoor Football League, made him incredibly good. Hatcher kind of fucked him up, and I got him better. And then Chris obviously coached the #1 pick in the draft in Tim Couch a long time ago, and then I coached the #1 pick in the draft at Cal in Jared Goff. And so there's going to be a whole lot of stories that we intertwine into doing this deal. You know, Brent is here. Brent Stockstill is our quarterback here at Middle Tennessee. Brent is going to do a whole lot of stuff. He doesn't even know what all he's going to do, because I just told him show up and you're going to do a lot of stuff. The reason I have him here is that I've said this publicly. If you watched ESPN, if you watched our game, I'd hire Brent tomorrow if I was a head coach. If anybody ever fucked up and made me a head coach, which ain't going to happen, but if they did, I'd hire Brent as my offensive coordinator tomorrow. I wouldn't give a shit if I was with, you know, a storied franchise like the Cleveland Browns. You know, he couldn't fuck it up any worse than them, right? But I would hire Brent tomorrow to do that. Wherever it was, because he loves football. His dad's a coach. We're going to have a little deal in the seminar to where he and our defensive coordinator's sons are going to talk about being a coach's son, growing up in the profession, watching and learning and all that stuff. But I'm going to use Brent a lot. You know, I said last year, you know, I had the #1 pick in the draft, and I really believe that Brent can be better than what Jared was. He's just been incredibly unlucky since I got here with injuries. Hopefully this next year is not going to be that way. So for some of you that have come forever, obviously there's repetitive stuff, and there's also lots of new stuff. The repetitive stuff is that I've had coaches that have sat in a room and taken 50 pages of notes, and they've been to every seminar that I've ever been to, and that's why they usually go into the Hall of Fame. They end up being, you know, the greatest coaches in the business. So the repetitive stuff, bear with it, listen, learn. You get new stuff all the time. I'll learn from you all more than you all ever learn from me. And so let's start this ride and get rolling. There's going to be interactive when we go over to do the walkthrough stuff. If you're uncomfortable doing it, don't do it. But I strongly recommend that you physically get engaged when we do the walkthroughs, because I'm going to ask you to. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But I think when you physically do stuff, I think it makes you learn it better. I think when you physically demonstrate things, it actually makes you better. It makes you a better coach. And a lot of times, what you're coaching someone, you're telling them what to do and how to do it, and then you physically try to do it yourself, you figure out it ain't that fucking easy, and then sometimes maybe what you're teaching is too hard, and maybe you're not communicating in the way that you can. So my job is today and tomorrow and the next day is to be an effective communicator. There is no such thing as a bad question. We'll have time in between. When I go through a deal, we'll have time for questions. And so just ask in between sessions and as we go there. So the first thing is talking about taking back the quarterback. In today's new age deal, there's been this invention of the quarterback guru. And you all know them. They're all in your schools. They're coming to get your kids. They're walking in the doors. They're telling the mamas and the daddies that I'm a guru and that I know 8 million things. And the thing that has, in my opinion, as football coaches, a lot of us have been soft. We always talk to our kids about being soft. I think as coaches, we've been soft. And the soft part is to say, who the fuck are you? Why are you here? Why are you taking my kid out and teaching him something that I don't believe in? I'm coaching him. You know what? My bills are going to be paid by whether or not we're successful or not, and you're telling this young man something that I don't want him to do. And so what I want to be able to do is to give you the power to take it back and to go to the parent and say, here's why I should be coaching him only. Okay? I'm the only one. And I've been strong enough in that when I've taken jobs, like when I was at Cal, I'd met with Jared Goff, met with his parents, and I said, don't fucking go to anyone. I don't want you to, and if you do, it's going to fuck you up, and you're not going to be able, you may not even win the job here. And I told that to every quarterback that I've recruited. I told it to kids this year that I recruited. Both kids I recruited have got gurus that coach them, and I'm all happy for them and fired up and all that. I told them they're fucking done. Okay? I'm the fucking guru now. Okay? Because my job depends upon whether or not you're successful or not. And so, every little nuance, I respect the business model of all these guys, because some of them are incredible. They're really good businessmen and they're really good coaches. And I might learn something from them. But what I want to be able to do is I want to keep my job. I want to be successful. I want to win. And to do that, then I need to be really good at this profession. So, the starting part of this, take back the quarterback, what the fuck were you thinking, okay? It's the most important position in football, and it's been hijacked by people that don't have your best interest in mind. How do I know they don't have your best interest in mind? Whether you win or lose is not important to them. The only thing that's important to a businessman who's trying to earn a living, and in most cases these guys aren't trying to earn a living, it's just a sidekick. Some of them are earning a living. They're making more than all of us in this room combined. And again, I respect that part of it. But they don't have your best interest in mind, because your best interest is winning football games. That's what it is. Their best interest is collecting money from the client and then billing that. So if their son doesn't win the job, whose fault is that? Is it them, the guru? No, it's your fault, the coach. You're a dumb fuck. Okay? You haven't done it right. You haven't taught it right. Johnny's a lot better, than the starting kid that's playing football. So they don't have your best interest in mind 99% of the time. You're giving your guys away without a plan, and it's my job to try to give you ammunition. Master your trade. Learn this as if it were a religion. The great thing about learning quarterback play from me is that I don't know a lot, so it's not hard to learn. Okay? I'm going to give you tools that we use that have been successful for the guys that we've had to come all the way up through the ladder, again, from middle school, high school, all the way up. And many of you have already had that success. So it's my job so that you'll be confident and that you'll know how to teach it when you go by. Show them the results. We're going to give you the ammunition of the results, and it's easy for me to say Jared Goff and to use that name, especially now, because I'll go through the story of his NFL career. But it's easy for me to use his name and to throw it out and act like that's it. Jared Goff's not the most important person that I've coached. The most important guys that I've coached were John Slosher and Russell Whaley, and Trey Barkley, You know, guys in high school, Pookie Jones, Mark West, all these guys that were middle school and high school quarterback coaches that were successful as well using the same method. So you need Jared Goff, right? You need Deshaun Watson that played at Gainesville High, a longtime client that everybody in the world knows who Deshaun Watson is now. But in high school coming out, he was a client in Gainesville, Georgia, one of our most successful clients, played in this system, obviously went to Clemson, got great coaching there, went in the NFL and had the same deal as that, well, you know, he played in a quote spread system, he's not going to be able to do it, and it's all bullshit. Nobody knows what they're talking about, and he's become obviously a great NFL quarterback as well. We've tried to build a business. We've got a business idea of trying to one day certify you guys this. I said this last year, but I'm not going to do it until it's perfect, and it's not perfect yet. But we still have that plan to try to help you again to be able to educate your parents and to go through it. Use these people as examples. You know, start with Brent Stockstill. Brent's the quarterback that we have now. You know, he was a preseason player of the year going into this season, had a horrible injury at Syracuse when he broke his sternum. I don't know if you've ever broke your sternum or not, but physically you can't play anymore. 2 ribs were detached. This happened in the third quarter, and he played the rest of the game. He's a tough motherfucker. Okay, if I'm in a foxhole, I want him with me. Okay, he played the rest of the game, but physically he couldn't play. And there's no way he could play for the rest of the year, but he did. He came back and he played. But he's a damn good football player. And so you have him, you have his statistics, all the records of this school, Conference USA, et cetera. You've got all that stuff that you can utilize with him. You've got Jared. You know, and the great thing about Jared now is that we had him as the #1 pick in the draft. That was pretty cool, right? You know, there's a $30 million answer for you there, all right, for a parent. Well, you know, Coach Franklin coached him this same method I'm coaching your son in. You had that. Now you've got it even better. You have the first year to where that, you know, he gets all the criticism and stuff, and I'm going to go into that in depth here in a little while, so I won't do too much of it now. You've got Colby Cameron. Okay, Colby Cameron is now a 3-time national champ quarterback in Japan. Okay, how many of y'all know that Colby's won 3 in a row in Japan, or 3 out of the last 4 in Japan? Okay, that's a big deal, because he's making a great living. He's the Tom Brady of Japan. Okay, they got fucking billboards in Japan of Colby Cameron. And they had 28,000 people at their championship game, and he makes a damn good living playing football in Japan, living there more than 6 months out of the year, saving a lot of money, you know, and oh, by the way, he holds the NCAA record for 444 passes in a row without an interception, which is a record that I don't believe will ever be broken. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen in my life. 444 in a row without throwing a pick. Okay, I mean, that's incredible. So, pretty good deal. Dwight Dasher was a quarterback here. After that season, was preseason player of the year the next season. And why do I throw him there? Number one, he's a damn good player, but number two, he was different. 5'8 and a half, 5'9", listed at 5'11", like all 5'8 guys want to be listed at. You know, 200-pound, unique skill set, different than anybody else that I've coached. And he was a great football player that won 10 games here and won a bowl game as a quarterback. Omar Hoggabook was still one of my favorite guys. It's funny, Hatcher, you'll get a kick out of this, is that, you know, if you ever notice that if you ever coach under somebody that is a, quote, guru, you become one of their children. You know, like Hatcher is a child of Hal Mummy and Mike Leach, and I am a child of them, supposedly, which none of them fucking claim me, you know, for obvious reasons. If you know our story, they don't claim me, but people will go, he falls under the mic. I don't fall under their fucking tree, you know. They're great coaches and all that shit, but I ain't their fucking tree. But Omar, in the deal, they called Neil Brown. You know, Neil had the great season at Troy the last 2 years, won 10, won 11 this year, won the championship. And on the TV, they said, you know, he's a product of Mike Leach. What the fuck? The product of Mike Leach because, what, you talked about horse racing one day during practice? You know, he became a product of him. And Omar was watching the game, and he played for me at Troy. And, you know, Neil was my assistant at Troy, and you know, goes on to be the OC there. And Omar texts me. He goes, "Fuck that! He's a fucking product of Tony Franklin." So he's a loyal guy. But Omar was a great quarterback. He was 2-time Player of the Year, and is now a good law enforcement agent down in Louisiana. Dusty Bonner Most of you know Hatcher coached him, and did he win it twice? Yeah, he was two-time Harlan Hill Trophy winner, so it's like winning the Heisman back-to-back, and then played for me in the Indoor Football League, was a great player. Jared Bryant was Mr. Football in the state of Alabama. Again, another great example of a kid that was 5'9". I coached him as a consultant for 2 years when I was helping Hoover High School because nobody would hire me. And Rush Probst would hire me every year to come coach whoever it was that was their quarterback at the time. Pookie Jones was Mr. Football in the state of Kentucky and was a great player at the University of Kentucky. John Slosher, I always say he was my best one because we won the state championship with him. And then Mark West is now the head football coach at the U.S. Military Academy and so on. I got Brent on there twice because he's so fucking special, okay? National championship participants, you know, Deshaun Watson was a quarterback at Gainesville that was a client of ours forever and won the national championship and then obviously became a great pro. So again, why do you need that? You need it to justify to the parent. You need it for the parent to where that you can say, you don't need to do this. I'm trained in this technique. You don't need to go anywhere. Why would you want to? Chris Hatcher coached Tim Couch in this method, and he was the first pick in the draft. 20 years later, Tony Franklin coached Jared Goff. He's the first pick in the draft. You don't need anything else. That's it. This shit works, okay? I'm going to make you the best that you can possibly be. And so you have that information that you need from there. Y'all bear with me as I go through switching this quickly. If I can figure out how to do it. All right. So what I decided to do here today, I just told Brent this a while ago, is to is that I have a plan for Brent to take him from good to great. He doesn't know what that plan is, so he's seeing it right now for the first time. Okay? So, how are you? So, what I thought about as I was trying to create, you know, this year's information that would be unique, is I said, well, let's just take you as a coach, and what are you going to try to do? Because you got a great player here that, you know, needs to be the best that he possibly can be. So how do I take him from being a good player to being a great player? So this is my plan with him. So I thought this might be something that you guys would be interested in today. Okay, number one is that be healthy, be strong, be in great physical shape. Well, that seems common sense, right? Well, Coach Franklin, you really are brilliant. You figured that out. Well, he's had injuries the last 2 years. So what can he do in the off season to make himself more healthy? Well, I've told him a couple of things. I've told him about studying Drew Brees, because if you think about it, Brent and Drew Brees are really similar. You want to find guys that are kind of similar to you. They're almost the same size. You know, Drew Brees might have him by that much. They've got the same toughness, you know, the same, you know, look in their face like I might poke your eyes out and stuff. And then Drew Brees went through a horrible injury. He went through a horrible injury. He had the same surgeon that he had, Dr. Andrews, the best surgeon in the world. Okay? So now Drew Brees has a workout plan that Brent's been able to go online and been able to look at the workout plan that Drew Brees has. So adjust your workout some. I think quarterbacks are different. I know Coach Hatcher probably thinks they are too. Brent's always been the tough guy. You know, I want to be like everybody else. I want to outwork everybody. If I go in the weight room and those DBs are in there, I'm going to outwork those fuckers. If the O-lines are in there, I'm going to outwork those guys. Well, outworking them is great, but are you doing it smart? Are you doing what you need to do as a quarterback so that your arm can throw 250 times a day? Are you doing that part of the workout? Or are you doing stuff to where you know, I want to look good. You know, I want to make sure that all the women like me like they do me. I mean, I'm a hard one for him to follow because he wants to look like I do. But not just being strong, but being healthy. Being healthy as a quarterback. So I want him to study that, and I want him to do that more in the off season. I want him to be smart with training and to train with the greats. I'd like for him to study. I just read all this stuff about Tom Brady and the controversy going on in New England right now, if you guys have read about that, where Tom has his own guy. You know, and the guy, they've started their own health line, their own health products deal. And there's controversy because in the NFL, they want to control everything. And Brady's got his own little deal. And some of the other guys are looking and going, okay, Brady's 40 years old, the healthiest guy in the NFL, says he's going to play till he's 45. He's doing something right, right? And in the NFL, they test him for steroids. Is more important than being tested positive for cocaine. So we know that what he's doing and putting into his body and all that stuff is legal. So what is it? Okay, I don't know. I haven't studied enough, but I want him to study it right now. I want him to figure it out. Study the greats. What did they do to play for a long time? How did they stay healthy? Well, the one thing I know, he's a tough fucker. So when he breaks an open field, you'll see it. And I love it. I love his fucking toughness. I love him looking fuckers up and hitting them in the throat. But you know what I like more? I like him being healthy. So I want him to learn to fucking slide, okay? You know, his idea of sliding his left forearm to the throat, you know, and then sliding after I fucking hit you, which again, I love it, but I want him healthy. I want to play a whole season with him one time. Improve the velocity of his throws. And again, that was the Drew Brees deal. I saw Kobe Cameron when we were at Louisiana Tech do this training that Drew Brees had just started to put out, and I saw Kobe's velocity of the football dramatically change, okay? And Brent can probably tell you, because I know he's found some of this stuff online. If I was a great coach, I would already have it myself, but I don't, okay? So I'm having him do it himself. Become more accurate, and I think he'd become more accurate if he improves his velocity a little bit. I think that his percentages will jump way up. Develop chemistry with receivers and demand their appearance in the offseason. Now, how do you do that? You demand it with a smile on your face. You demand it to where that if my guy that I know should be our starting X, that if he doesn't show up, then what I do is that I go, hey, you know, I missed you yesterday, you know, tough, you know, sorry you weren't there because your fucking backup is going to beat your fucking ass out. Because I'm going to make sure he fucking does, motherfucker. Okay? That's good leadership, right? Positive leadership, right? Very positive with a smile on his face. He's got a smile. You fucking dropped 6 fucking touchdowns for me, asshole. So fucking please be there tomorrow, motherfucker. Okay? In a positive way, with a smile on your face, right? That's positive leadership. Demand their appearance that they come. Develop go-to routes with undeniable chemistry. Okay, who do I go to? What do I do? He knows who he's going to. He was going to Richie James, right? Richie James is maybe the best receiver I've ever coached going into this past season. The problem was he only played 3 games. Why? Because he got hurt. So now who's the chemistry with next? How do you develop chemistry? You develop it in the off season. You develop with individual stuff. I work out of the press box, if you guys know that. Every time I usually go to a place, I end up in a private location because nobody fucking likes me. So I'm up in the press box, and I can see Brent in the summer. Who did I see him out there throwing with in the summer if he's throwing? Usually with Richie James. They got this incredible chemistry. The problem is Richie got hurt. So now who do you have it with? He needs it with 3 or 4 or 5 guys that he can develop it with, and those become his guys. And you develop that in the off season. Become a great runner with creative eyes and imagination. When I first got here, Brent was a below average runner, okay? He was not a great runner. He wasn't even a good runner. He was a guy that would run and fall, get his body going too far forward and fall. So I asked him to be more creative with his eyes, to use better imagination as a runner, all right? And he did. And then the first season I was here, he became an almost average runner. This past season, he was a fucking good runner until he got hurt. Okay? How did he do it? By being creative. You're creative as a runner with your eyes. All right? A lot of times runners, because I was a running back and I was really shitty. And I believe I was really shitty, even though I was a college running back and I started at Murray State. You know, Hamilton, if I was there for you right now, I mean, y'all averaged about 2.8 per carry this year. I could have got you to 2.9. Okay? I mean, because that's what I averaged in my career as a college runner, was 2.9 per carry. But all I did was run hard, grunt and groan, and try to be tough, and I fucking saw nothing with my eyes. And so with a running back and a running quarterback is to be creative with your eyes. Learn the blocking schemes, which he understands the blocking schemes. Understand how everything develops. Understand what the feels are from the defense, and then be creative when you run the ball with your eyes. Have creative eyes and imagination as a runner. And then, like I said, for him, also now learn how to know when the journey's over and how to get down. Develop incredible hand strength. I have horrible hand strength. You know, there's women that shake my hand and fucking crumble me, okay? Because I don't have gigantic hands, and people shake my hand, and I try to get firm and I try to get that, but I know that you can develop really good hand strength with all the deals that we do. And I know in the weight room we have the stuff that, you know, the rice and where you do all that stuff, but I want him to have the best hand strength, because if you have great hand strength, you can grip a ball better and you don't have to worry about it. And he does a good job with that, but I want it to become better. All right? Study your past and embrace your success and destroy your weaknesses. Okay? Study your film. Have your highlight film to where that you watch yourself making great plays. You watch yourself making the average play. Make his own cut-ups. He knows how to do it. Make his own film. And then show himself to where that he embraces those strengths. Why am I good at this? Why did this work? What can I do? How can I, with these two new quarterbacks be coming in, how can I get them up to speed as soon as they get here to make them as good as they possibly can be? Embrace the strengths, and also look at himself and go, what did I suck at? You know, what was I bad at? And make the film of that and become better at those things. Also become the master of tags. I've tagged for him for 2 years. He needs to begin to tag for himself, to where that I call a concept and he looks up, sees it immediately, and looks out and gives somebody something that's better than what I called. Okay? Because on the third season, I don't know if Hatcher, I'm sure he would say the same thing. Every quarterback I've had in the third season, that's when the tags become, you become better than me. I can't tag as good as you can. I can give you something, but you're always going to see it better than I do. And I've only, coached one quarterback in my career for 3 seasons, and that was Jared. And Jared in his third season became much, much better at being creative in his tags. Being able to tag run play, RPOs, being able to tag the backside of quick game routes to where I don't have to do it, to where that they can do it. So become the master at tags. Read, study, and improve leadership skills. There's a million things out there about leadership. Find something that you like, something that you believe in. I study business. I don't study many football guys. I study business. And the reason I study business is because obviously I have a business, but what I found over the years, the football stuff is a lot about quotations. It's a lot about slogans. It's a lot about, roll the fucking boat, right? Stuff like that. It's all good. Slang is great. It gets guys good jobs and all that stuff. But I like business because there's not very many slogans. Is that there's a whole lot of doing. There's a whole lot of creative innovation of doing things that have never been done before and finding ways that fit you. And so I believe that if you find that and you study that, I almost every day listen to podcasts when I'm walking. And one of the ones that I listen to that if you guys haven't done this is a guy named Tim Ferriss. Okay, Ferris, I think it's just one S. And he's a young guy, but he's done a whole lot of stuff with health and with body functions and with eating and all that stuff. But he wrote a book called The 4-Hour Work Week. And it's basically how not to waste time. And I'm a huge believer in not wasting time. I hate wasting time. For example, if we have a meeting and I got to listen to the O-line coach say, Johnny didn't step with the left foot right here. He didn't get this on. I've been coaching with the guy for 3 fucking years. I know Johnny didn't do that. To me, that's a waste of my time and a waste of his time just so that we can do stuff. So once my coaches and we are on the same page, then I don't meet just to be meeting because I don't want to waste time. And that's part of the 4-hour work week is learning how can you maximize your skill set? How can you maximize your practice time without doing things just to be doing them? Because I hate to do that. So find guys that you can study. Don't show signs of weakness by being too self-critical. He's the worst in the world, and I motherfucked him for probably the first time when he came back from his injury. Because what he does is that, we'll be doing routes on air and he'll make a shitty throw and he'll motherfuck himself unbelievably. Well, that's good because what is he doing? He's fixing himself. But what he's also doing is spreading negative energy around. I do enough negative energy that he don't really need a whole lot of it, okay? I've got enough of it going. He doesn't need to be as self-critical verbally to where that energy spreads throughout the other guys, because sometimes they feel like it's coming towards them. And when you got young quarterbacks, sometimes it hurts them a little bit. Daily gratitude. He does a really good job with this. I believe that you teach your teammates how to be grateful and that you are grateful. If you guys don't have this app on your phone, I would strongly recommend that the first break that you get is that you put an app on your phone called the 5-Minute Journal. The 5-Minute Journal has changed my life. It's on the front page of my iPhone right here, and the first thing I do when I wake up and shit every morning. If I'm sitting on the shitter, unlike Trump that's trying to destroy the fucking world on the shitter, I'm trying to read the 5-Minute Journal, and it takes me literally about 3 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes at night for me to set my daily attitude of gratitude. Because the number one thing in the world that makes you have a good day is being grateful. So the 5-Minute Journal is very simple. I start off the day and I list 3 things that I'm grateful for. It can be the same thing as yesterday. It can be as simple as, this morning I'm grateful I get to see David Barnes. That's in my journal from this morning. My best friend from high school, and I get to see him today. Okay, I get to see Chris Hatcher. Hatcher and I've gotten closer over the last couple of years. I get to see good friends. Whatever it is, I'm grateful for my daughter, for all 3 of my kids. It doesn't matter what it is, but when you set the tone of being grateful, what it does is it makes you not have a shitty day because you have gratitude. So he can be grateful, but he can also teach everybody else. And I tell our players all the time this stuff. I spend, 20% of my time trying to teach them how to have better lives. Take snaps and drops and pops and rolls and slide fires and flames and boots daily. He can do all that on his own. Okay, what's a drop? Well, a 3-step drop, a 5-step drop. What's a slide? Slide protection to where he's faking here, coming off of it and have to go through his progression. Rollout, boots. Every little thing that he does, he can have a rhythm set up that if I don't set it up for him, he's got it set up for himself. And it could be that he's got 5 minutes free and all of a sudden he just says, you know what, I'm going to get better at rolling out to my left, because it's usually easier to throw to the right for a left-hander than it is to throw to the left. Demand excellent for yourself and your teammates, okay? He does that, all right? But demand it not only for himself, but demand it also for his teammates as a leader. Make everyone better with positive, firm leadership. And again, it's amazing, and I'm bad at this, I know this. When I'm pissed and I don't feel good about something, my body shows it usually. I can walk into a room and people go, oh fuck, all right, something ain't right. I'm not great about hiding that body language part of it. But if you ever notice that there's some people that smile, are positive all the time, and they could look you right in the eye and they could go, Colby, you're a sorry motherfucker. You really are. I don't fucking like you. But, you're also ugly, okay? And they finish telling you all this and you go, wow, I love fucking Colby, Or it could be, you're fucking great coach, Colby. God damn it, motherfucker. You fucking, I really fucking like you. You're fucking really good. Body language means something. It's like, did he just fucking compliment me? I don't know if it was or if it wasn't. So body language does make a difference, and with body language you can have better leadership. Meditate, okay? If you're not doing that, start it, all right? Meditation, and this is the one thing, it's hard, man, because, man, when you sit in silence and do it, I do Headspace. Headspace is 10 minutes. It's an app, again. And again, why did I choose Headspace? Because it's easy. Because that's what Tim Ferriss used. And then he's gone more into the transcendental meditation now. But the reason that I know that Brent should do meditation is because 80% of the world's leaders in business that are killing it in the world are meditating. And almost all of the people that I admire in the world that do great things meditate. They start their day to where that somewhere during the day, some of them do it more than once, is they go to a quiet space and they turn everything in the world off and they have a focused meditation. And usually it involves sometimes self-talk, sometimes it's mantras. But if 80% of the top leaders in the world that are changing our world for the better are doing this, there's got to be something to it. There's got to be something positive. So if Brent wants to be the best guy in the world, he needs to do that. Look for and find missing keys of defenders and defenses that we missed during the season on film study. I am not a great scheme coach, and he knows that. So in the off season, what he can do is take a game film, watch a game film, make notes, and go, wow, this is what they did that I missed during the game. How did I miss that during film study? What did I not do during film study that I missed that? Coach Franklin missed it. Everybody in the room missed this. It would make me a better football player. He can do that in the off season and become a better, be more prepared as we start off. Reach out and find teammates that we need to rise up and become their mentor, lead them to the promised land. You're in college football, you got 120 kids in a room, in a deal. We got some lost souls now. I mean, there ain't no fucking doubt. We got some lost souls. We got guys in our room that are in trouble. You know, Steve Ellis is in the back of the room back there. Steve Ellis was coaching DBs when I was here in 2009. He was a great coach in 2009, but he's 1,000 times better. And I told him this. I told him this the last 2 years I've been here. He's 1,000 times better football coach than he was in 2009. But one of the things he does a great job of is mentoring young men, okay, saving young men, going and finding them in the deepest, darkest place in life and really doing a good job of bringing them out. I think Brent can do that. I think that he can do a better job of finding guys that are in trouble. And sometimes we don't want to do it because it's uncomfortable. Because, you got a guy that's, got a dope problem, or you got a guy that's, going out and getting, hammered too much, or you got a guy that's being abusive in some way in a relationship with a female or something, that you can play a positive role in their life. That's something that he can do a little bit more. Recognize coverages and their weaknesses through film study, like I talked about a while ago. Make a scouting report of our opponents for next season and what you believe their weaknesses are. Make my job easier. Come in and say, be a bigger part of the game plan. A lot of times I'll ask him, I'll say, what do you like? What do you want? He'll go, Coach, whatever you like. I don't want to hear that. I want to know what you fucking like. I want to know that, you know what, this is what I'm comfortable with. This is what I believe. I think we should do this more. I think we should do this less. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it, but it certainly might. I'll tell you what's pretty cool. Think about this, and I'm going to, again, talk about this a little bit more after Chris does his deal, is that Jared Goff sucked as a rookie in the NFL. He was horrible, right? He was the worst fucking thing ever. He was a bust. That's what everybody said. They hire a new coach, and all of a sudden he's good, all right? What the Rams did that was brilliant, think about this. Jared was in on the interview process of who they were going to hire for the new head coach. He got to sit in the room and meet the guys, talk to the guys, ask them questions, listen to their answers. And from the first day that he met Sean McVay, he wanted McVay to be the coach. He told me, it's a fucking home run. He goes, this guy's brilliant, he's smart, this is who I really want. He had a couple other guys he liked, but McVay was it. They hire McVay. There's all kinds of shit that I'll talk about later as to how that thing changed, okay? So the opinion of a quarterback to me is important because we're not good without them. And it depends on who it is. There's some quarterbacks, I don't want their fucking opinion. They're fucking too stupid, okay? Doesn't mean they're not a great player, but there's nothing they can do to add to it. Make a video of plays that you're really proud of and watch them constantly. Watch yourself. Like there's some back shoulder throws where he gets fucking killed that are unbelievable. I mean, there's some shit where he's getting destroyed that are unbelievable. Make that, watch that, look in the mirror and go, you know what, you're pretty fucking good, Stockstill. Don't be afraid to self-praise yourself every now and then. Don't be afraid to do that, to say good things. And then make a video of the incredibly stupid plays that you made. And he made some of those, some really stupid plays. Watch them and go, you know what, I ain't never fucking doing that again. I get it, I understand. Every now and then I can take a shot, take a chance on something, but this was just really dumb. And don't repeat those things. Continue to do something good every day of your life for somebody that can never repay you. And I'll show you a picture here a little bit. Brent had one of the biggest honors that you can have. He was named to the All-State Good Hands team. He got to go to the a game this past week of, was it Clemson and Alabama, right? And New Orleans, and one of just a few college players to get to go because of all the good works that he does in this community. And what I think he can do is also teach that to other people. Set goals so high that only you can imagine them, and then make them come true. I am the biggest high goal setter that you could ever imagine, and there's shit that you would laugh at if you saw what I've set for myself. And a lot of it, most of it doesn't have anything to do with football. It's other stuff, you know, that I set goals for. And I do have some really high football goals, and I tell them every year. I start off every year with a PowerPoint, and I tell them I want to be the best offense in the history of college football, ever in the history. Why not? Is that too big a goal? I don't think it is. Why isn't it? I mean, you know, especially now, it's year 3, okay? Year 3, baby. You know, we've got a lot of players that personally chose and recruited and brought them in here, fit the missing pieces and everything. Why not try to be the best there? Well, that's stupid. Why would you do that? You said that at Cal and you went 1-11. That's true. Fuck you, okay? I'll say it again. And I'll do it again this year. Because if you set goals that are big, then you know what? You usually climb a lot higher than you would if you just set something that, you know, I think I can get my foot in the water there a little bit. So don't be afraid to set goals. Don't be afraid to set big goals.